The Emperor and His Great Palace. In a very old country called China, there was an emperor. He was a very important man. His palace was the biggest and most beautiful building in the world. It was made of fine, expensive porcelain. It was shiny, but also very fragile. The garden was also famous. It was so big that the emperor's gardener did not even know where it ended. If you walked far, you would come to a lovely forest that met the sea. In the garden, there were many beautiful flowers. Each flower had a small, silver bell tied to it. When the wind blew, the bells would tinkle, so you could not walk past a flower without hearing the sound. Everything in the palace and the garden was perfectly organized. It was beautiful, but it was also very quiet, except for the tiny bells. The emperor sat on his golden throne. He read many books about his palace. People from all over the world wrote about how wonderful it was. He loved reading these books. He thought his palace was the greatest thing in the world because it was written in the books. He only believed what was written on the paper, a secret in a book. One day, the emperor received a box full of new books. He opened one large book, a book about his own country, China. He began to read it happily, waiting for more praise about his porcelain palace. But then, he stopped. He saw a sentence that surprised him very much. The book said, "The emperor's palace is magnificent, but the greatest treasure in the whole empire is the Nightingale." The emperor was very angry. "The greatest treasure?" he shouted. "And I do not know it? This is terrible. I must have this bird. I command you to bring the nightingale to me now." He called his first courtier. This courtier was the most important person who worked for the emperor. He was so formal that he could not speak without bowing. "What is a nightingale?" the emperor asked the courtier. The courtier had never heard the word before. He said, "Your Majesty, do not know this word. It must be something not important. If it is not in our official records, it cannot be a treasure. It is in this book." The emperor insisted, "Go find this bird. The nightingale must sing for me tonight." The search for the simple bird. The courtier was very scared. He ran all through the palace. He asked everyone, the guards, the servants, and the wise men. Nobody knew where the nightingale was. They ran outside, shaking the silver bells on the flowers. They were looking for something special and golden. Finally, they saw a poor kitchen maid. She worked hard all day and carried heavy buckets of water. She was the only person in the palace who knew the forest outside. The courtier asked her quickly, "Do you know the nightingale?" The girl smiled. "Oh, yes, I know it well. It sings every night by the sea, in the green woods. When I am tired from my long work, I go there to rest. The song is so beautiful, it makes me forget my pain. It makes me feel warm and happy." The courtier, along with many lords and ladies, followed the kitchen maid out of the beautiful garden. They walked past the quiet porcelain and into the dark, green forest. The courtier complained, "This place is too common. It is muddy and dark. Where is the emperor's treasure?" "Listen," the maid whispered gently. Suddenly, a beautiful sound came from the branches. The sound was so clear and so strong that everyone stopped moving. It was the nightingale. The courtier looked at the bird. It was small and gray. It is just a small, simple bird. It is not beautiful like a gold jewel. Shh, the girl said again. The nightingale heard them and stopped singing. The courtier bowed to the bird. Little nightingale, the emperor commands you to come to the palace tonight to sing for him. The nightingale said, my song is best here, in the forest. But I will come because the emperor asks me to. The tears of the emperor. That night, the palace was ready. The emperor was on his golden throne. The nightingale was put on a small golden perch. All the rich people watched the small gray bird. The nightingale began to sing. It sang a song about the poor people, about the quiet forest, about the beautiful sea, and about the deep love in the world. The song was so honest and powerful that the emperor could not stop the tears. Warm, big tears ran down his face and into his beard. The courtier pretended to cry too, using his sleeve. But the emperor's tears were real. The emperor was very happy. He offered the bird a golden slipper to wear around its neck. The nightingale said, no, your majesty, I do not need a golden slipper. I have already been rewarded. I saw the tears in your eyes. A singer's best reward is when the master is truly touched. The emperor loved the bird. He commanded that the nightingale must stay in the palace forever. It was given a huge, golden cage and 12 servants. It could only fly out twice a day, and only for half an hour each time. The whole city talked about the wonderful song. Everyone said, the song is good, but it is not like the nightingale's song. The new clockwork toy. One day, a large package arrived from the Emperor of Japan. Inside was a mechanical bird. This bird was covered in gold, diamonds, and rubies. It was a stunning piece of jewelry. When they wound it up, it sang one song. It sang the song perfectly every time, with no mistakes. This is better, cried the courtier. It is so beautiful to look at. It never makes a mistake, and its song is always the same. It is predictable and perfect, unlike that gray little bird. The mechanical bird sang its single, perfect song 33 times. The court loved the precision and the gold. When the emperor finally asked, where is the real nightingale? Nobody knew. While everyone was watching the new mechanical toy, the real nightingale had flown out the open window, back to the green forest. The courtier called the real bird ungrateful and a deserter. They said that nature was weak and that the golden machine was superior. The mechanical bird was put next to the emperor's bed. It sang its one song until the emperor knew every note by heart. The court wrote a huge book about the perfect timing of the mechanical bird. The deep silence of sickness. The mechanical bird sang for exactly 1 year. Then, one evening, when it was singing its 34th song, there was a loud clunk and a zap inside the machine. The song stopped. It was quiet. The emperor was sad. The clockmaker came, but he could only fix it a little bit. He said, I can only let it sing once a year. The parts are too weak. The palace became quiet again. The emperor missed the song. Many years passed. The emperor became very old and very sick. He lay on his huge, golden bed, pale and cold. Everyone thought he would die soon. The emperor felt a terrible presence in his room. He saw a shape sitting on his chest. It was Death. Death wore the emperor's golden crown and held his sword. The emperor saw bad things he had done in his life floating around the room, staring at him. They whispered, "Do you remember this bad deed? Do you remember this mistake?" The emperor shook with fear. "Music. I need music. Sing to me, mechanical bird," he whispered. But the mechanical bird was silent. The clockwork was broken. The room was full of the terrible silence and the whispers of fear. The song of life returns. Suddenly, from the open window, a clear, beautiful sound began to fill the room. It was the real Nightingale. The little bird had come back. It had heard that the emperor was sick. It flew to the window and sang. The nightingale sang of the sweet summer, of the strong sun, and of the peaceful life outside. The song was so full of life and hope that the floating, scary shapes began to disappear. Death listened to the song. Death loved the music so much that it asked the bird to keep singing. The nightingale sang a soft, beautiful lullaby. Death slowly left the emperor's chest. It floated out the window like a quiet, gray fog. The emperor was safe. Thank you, wonderful bird," the emperor cried. He was sitting up in bed, and his color returned. "You saved my life. You sang the bad fear away. How can I ever pay you?" The nightingale flew to the end of the bed. "I have already been paid," it said. "You let me bring hope back to your heart. I sing not for gold, but for the tears of truth. I saw your tears when I first sang, and I saw your tears of fear tonight." The new wise ruler, the emperor, begged the bird to stay. "Please, live here forever. I will break the mechanical bird." "No," said the nightingale. "Do not break the machine. It is beautiful in its own way. I will not live in the palace. I will sit on the branch outside your window, and I will fly away and come back as I please. I will sing to you of the simple, honest things that the court never sees. I will be your true messenger, but you must promise me one thing." "Anything," the emperor said, feeling new life in his body. "Promise me that you will tell no one that you have a little bird who tells you everything. You must keep it a secret. This is the only way I can truly sing the truth." The emperor promised. He felt a deep quiet and wisdom inside him. He dressed in his simple robe and watched the sun rise. The courtier came in, expecting to find the emperor dead. But the emperor was awake and strong. He commanded the courtier to prepare his day. The emperor ruled his great country better than ever before. He was kind and fair. He listened to the little gray bird outside his window, because he heard the song of the simple forest and the sea. He understood the true needs of his people. He finally knew that the greatest treasure is not gold or perfect machines, but the simple, true voice of nature. And that is the end of the story of the emperor and the nightingale. The emperor learned that the most important things are not always the most shiny, the most expensive, or the most perfect. They are the things that are real and honest. For all of you who are learning English, remember the nightingale. Do not try to be like the perfect, broken machine. Be like the small, real bird. Be honest, keep practicing, and your voice will become beautiful and strong. If you enjoyed listening to this story and learning new words, please subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button below, and you will not miss the next story. We will keep learning English together, one great story at a time. Thank you for watching, and keep singing your own song.